Hey y'all, how's it going? Before we begin, I upload RuneScape history videos around one time per week, so if that's something you're interested in, please hit that subscribe button. Also, I opened up a new channel a few days ago, The Crime Historian. This channel isn't going to be RuneScape related, but I plan to do true crime related lengthy videos. If that's something that sounds interesting, I'll be releasing my first video on the channel tomorrow afternoon. Alright, enough blabbering, let's get into it. The RuneScape high scores came into the game on November 22nd of 2001. Since then, the competitive nature of thousands of players have come out, with many of them vying for that coveted number one position on the high scores. I'd like to make an attempt to catalog most of the times that the number one title changed hands in a significant way. Before I begin, I would like to state that I make mistakes a decent amount, and due to history being muddied up a bit when it comes to this and the archived websites and certain year spans not working at all, there are bound to be a few errors. I'm also going to try and avoid including people who, held the title for insignificant amounts of time. Having said that, the accomplishment of reaching number one even for short periods is amazing. The earliest page I could find is from February of 2002, just a little over 2 months after that initial release of the high scores. The leader at this time was L6VI, I'm just going to say Levi. They held the title for an unspecified amount of time before dropping it to TKS. TKS was extremely special. She was a mother whose kids played RuneScape. Becoming interested in the game and wanting to beat them at it, she hopped onto the game. Her competitive nature took over, and she was soon the first person to reach 99 cooking, as well as 99 fishing. I find it extremely important to insert here that, as someone who's played RuneScape Classic, that some of the skills are quite frankly irritating, to say the least. You want to chop that tree? Oops, you slipped and fell 20 times in a row. Also, skills like fishing and woodcutting were not AFK at all. As previously mentioned, you could fail even attempting, and even on a success you would get one fish, or one log, and have to go through the attempt again. I just felt this needed to be said, as it makes her accomplishments that much more impressive. She's the owner of the longest title reign during the RuneScape Classic years. At some point before the transition to RS2, she stopped playing the game. The Old Knight seemingly took up the number one spot afterwards and claimed the only reason he was able to do so was due to TKS quitting. The Old Knight was said to be unlike other high levels that were arrogant and refused to help newer players. He was said to always be polite and helpful. He would bob around the top 5 for many years to come until mid-2006, when he would unfortunately pass away due to his battle with cancer. In October of 2003, Zazima would reach number 1 overall for the first time, dropping it just the next month in November of 2003 to a player known as Bonebreak6. Zazima would take back over his spot on the throne until the release of the runecrafting skill, where Chopper Mad surpassed him. Not long afterwards, Zazima would catch Chopper in runecrafting and eventually pass him, reclaiming the number 1 spot again. For large portions of 2004 to 2007, Zazima was number 1 with a few exceptions. When Construction was released in March of 2006, he was surpassed temporarily by Nova Life, who achieved 99 first. Also, I want to throw in some honorable mentions to Little Yuffie88 and You Love Me. You Love Me was said to have held the number 1 spot during short bursts during Zazima's 2004 to 2007 reign. Lil Yuffie88 had more total XP than Zazima a lot of the time, but is not as well known as him. There was also a user known as The Hate that was up there as well. Zazima obtained 99 Construction, where he held the title for the majority of the time until the release of Summoning in January of 2008. Zazima claims he became demotivated due to the game becoming easier, which devalued everyone's achievements. He would drop the title as multiple people began leveling up Summoning, but it eventually rested on Yogo-sun, who held the title for 3 to 4 months. Yogo-sun was ultimately overtaken by King Duffy 1, who held the title for the majority of 2008 and a small piece of 2009. King Duffy was then surpassed by Gert Jars. Gert Jars laid claim to the number 1 spot for the majority of 2009 and well into 2010. In April of 2010, the Dungeoneering skill was released. This, along with Gert Jars quitting the game prior to its release, opened up the position. In 2010, the title changed hands pretty often, with it going to Mentella, then to Tello Marquez, who was the first player to achieve 120 Dungeoneering, by the way. In November of 2010, Elvis claimed number 1. In February of 2011, the following year, a player by the name of Jay Delacruz took the coveted spot. It would then go to a player named Elias in July, but in late 2011 it would find a long-time home with Suomi. Suomi would hold the number 1 spot all the way until May 14th, 2014, when he was passed up by Drumgun. Now that we've reached 2013, Old School RuneScape was released, so the video is going to fork out, so to speak. I'm going to try and cover all of RS3 all the way till present day, then double back to 2013 and cover Old School's title lineage. This might get muddy, and I apologize if I miss anyone that held it for a significant time. Drumgun seems to have held the title for a while due to his playtime and efficiency, playing 17 hours per day on average, but dropped it to the player Lemi. This mainly seems to be due to the invention skill being released in 2016. Due to the fact that many of the top-of-the-line players had 200 mil experience in all skills at this time, once a new skill is released, if one of those players with 200 mil in all skills reaches 200 mil in the new skill, their spot is locked in, so to speak, until a new skill is released. This was the case for Lemi, who won the race in the next skill, Archaeology, released in 2020. Due to this, Lemi locked in their #1 spot and cannot be passed until a new skill is released, which may come to fruition in the next year or so. We'll see if they can hold their spot. Okay, we're back. As for old school RuneScape, I'm going to start tracking it the moment someone reached 99 in all skills and gets the maximum overall level. The first player to become maxed in all 23 skills within old school RuneScape was the player Jabrim, the agility freak who holds 200 million agility experience on multiple accounts, which is an impressive feat no matter how you look at it. He did so on October 27th of 2013 and held the title until he was overtaken by a player named Vestfold, who held on to the crown for good portions of 2014. Vestfold was surpassed by Sick Nerd going into 2015, who lost it between March and May of 2015 to Hey Jace. Hey Jace was the holder until September of 2015, where he dropped it to Lynx Titan. In the early days of RuneScape and even into the early 2010s, the #1 title seemed to be held by knowledgeable players who were probably efficient but also leaned very heavily on long play sessions. The newer top players seem to do this as well, but are hyper efficient and play at a very fast pace. Lynx Titan definitely falls into this category and is said to average playing 18 hours per day within the game. In addition to this, he seems to have a frenetic and very fast pace with his training. On December 28th of 2018, he temporarily cut off the possibility of anyone surpassing him when he achieved 200 million experience in all 23 available skills. With a new skill on the horizon, only time will tell if he can maintain this #1 spot. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I appreciate every single one of y'all, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.